I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed. I love it. Babes, the brand sent that to you for free. You have to love it. You have to be obsessed. Hello my angels, welcome back to my channel. I'm Chelsea, and in today's video we're going to be talking about propaganda I'm not falling for fashion edition. Now if you guys are chronically online like me, then you've probably seen the trend where people on TikTok or Instagram are saying things that they're not falling for, like propaganda in beauty standards or propaganda fashion related, or just anything at all that they're just not falling for. And I thought that I should do my take on it on YouTube and see what you guys think, and I have a few listed down and we're going to be going through them one by one. First, propaganda I'm not falling for: cultural appropriation as inspiration. Big word, I know, cultural appropriation. But I'm not against sharing cultures. I come from a very multicultural background. I'm African, also lived in multiple African countries. I've lived in Asia for most of my life. So I feel like I've constantly had to share and like blend cultures throughout the world. And this is what I mean by I come from a very diverse background, because this is literally me at my first ever wedding, being an Indian wedding at 15. And I feel like there's a respectful way of doing so and going through that in fashion. But I feel like in the fashion industry these days I'm seeing a lot of misnaming. So it's not cultural appropriation, they're just taking it and completely renaming it to something else, which I just don't understand. It's like very much a cultural garment that is being misnamed into something else. Like for example, how I saw someone calling like a dupatta, a boho scarf. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong, but it's called a dupatta, and they call it like a boho scarf, or like a gele, and they will call it like a wrap or something. And it's like, these are things that are very much cultural garments and clothing that has been existing for so long. Not only have they been existing for so long, but they also hold extreme significance to these cultures.
The dupatta is more than just an iconic piece of clothing that can be relabeled as a Scandinavian scarf. It's the symbol of resistance for South Asian women for centuries upon centuries. The actual word dupatta originates from Persian, with the meaning two and patta meaning pieces of cloth. The earliest sign of the dupatta that can be documented is in these terracotta figurines depicting the Indus Valley civilization, which is 2500 to 1500 BC. Dupatta being used as a symbol of resistance through the practice of johar. During the Mughal era, Mughal kings would mercilessly ravage Indian civilizations, which would mean that the women of these kingdoms would eventually be left at the hands of the men for them to rape and sexually abuse. To avoid this fate, women who were left behind in the kingdoms after all of the men were killed off in war would then participate in self-sacrifice in a group setting, in which they would walk into a fire because they preferred death over being left in the hands of these animalistic men. Before walking into the fire, women would put dupattas over their head as a final act of dignity and a way of reclaiming their agency even in death. Just a simple piece of clothing that companies can throw on anything and rebrand as a Scandinavian scarf. It is an active piece of resistance used by women for centuries in South Asia, and many women have fought to wear this today.
Like I said, there's nothing wrong with sharing cultures. Instead, what these brands should be doing is hiring South Asian designers, hiring African designers, and giving credit where it's due. Using South Asian models to promote these items, using African models to promote these items, because at the end of the day, that's where this cultural clothing comes from, and you need to give credit where it's due. And I've also been seeing this thing where it's like Japandi style, but the photos and the clothing that I'm seeing are very much Chinese. Like, it's very much the tie around tops with the like clean cut structural silhouettes. I don't see the Scandinavian aspect of anything. I know it's supposed to be like a interior design wording, but it's being used in fashion, and I feel like it's also being misused again. Like, why are we... Do your research is what I'm saying. Propaganda I'm not falling for, don't come for me, is getting ready with me's and you're starting in your underwear. I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, getting ready with me, yes, I get it. Like, we're not actually supposed to be in the room with you in your like underwear. And I just feel like it's so normalized nowadays, and People would never ever go outside in their underwear, but they feel safe enough to get ready with me in your bra and your undies on camera with 100 millions of people seeing you on the internet, and this footage will never be erased. I just can't get over it. I love the concept of like get ready with me, like girlies talking about what they like to wear. I get the concept. I would start in my PJs or something and then just do a little cute transition. I just don't get why we're starting in our literal underwears. I just feel like it's underwear for a reason. We're not really supposed to see this part of you. It's just so exposing. I feel like I would feel so exposed if I was on like getting ready with me in my underwears and my bra, knowing my mom or my dad could just probably scroll through my TikTok and very much see me just getting ready on camera. I don't know. Maybe I'm just conservative, but this is not for me. I've talked about this one again. The next propaganda we're going to be talking about is bag charms. Again, I just feel like I don't like unnecessary things when it doesn't. If it means something to you, great. If it doesn't, why is it on your bag?
Well, the answer is little treat culture. Ever since no longer being able to afford huge investments such as housing, luxury, and cars, we have a ton of disposable income, and we use that leftover disposable income on little boosts of dopamine to cope. For example, I can't afford to travel for leisure, so instead I treat myself with a $20 smoothie. Or since I can't afford to buy the luxury clothing I dream of, I'd instead live vicariously through my labubu by dressing it in luxury and tailored clothing. And it has become a way for us to celebrate the small wins, and our purchases are getting smaller and smaller as we treat ourselves. Now, the reason why I'm not a huge fan of this culture is that brands are well aware of this and are now using it to their advantage, getting us to spend and overconsume instead of saving to finally get our homes or the cars we want.
I don't think I'm a very big collector of things. I don't think I'll ever become one. But when I'm now putting it on my bag, it needs to mean something for it to be on my bag. I do have a bag charm. I'm actually going to show you my bag charm. This is the only bag charm I do have, and it was very much a gift from my friend for my birthday, and I love it so much, and it was so sweet. So it definitely hangs on my bag. And it goes with my bag. That's why it's on that bag specifically. But charms in general used to have like a purpose. You put it on your key so you don't lose it, or you put it for like personality. You show people who you are. But now it's just, let me just decorate my bag with a bunch of things that I don't need. Another way to just, overconsume. I'm not here for it. The next propaganda I'm not falling for is undisclosed ads. It'll be like, come with me to like, I don't know what, do a fashion haul with me, clothes I got. And it's like, it seems like you, at first glance, it seems like you just bought these clothes from your own money. Come to find out, the brand sent you all of these clothes to just show on camera. And I don't like these undisclosed ads, especially when it's like skincare and then you slap a filter on there, or when you're like trying to sell something and you're like, oh, I love this makeup product, da, 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 da. And it seems like you just are in love with it, and then you'd be like, it's on my Amazon storefront. Babe, it's an ad. And then you don't tell people what the product is unless they click on your link, which I get it. We're all trying to make money, we're all trying to survive, but I feel like just be open and honest about the fact that it's very much an ad, So I'm obsessed. I love it. Babes, the brand sent that to you for free. You have to love it. You have to be obsessed. You know what I mean? And I feel like the honesty is dying. Like, oh my god, make a haul with me, and you'd make all these hauls, and then you buy a lot of clothes, and then 5 days later you're returning it to the store. Let's be for real. Like, why are we doing that? That's propaganda I'm definitely not falling for, because affordability doesn't equal disposability. Just because it's affordable, you can't just go and get a bunch of clothing at the thrift store and think I'm saving the environment. No, you're not. You're very much not. And the propaganda I'm not falling for, especially as someone who lives in Korea, is one size clothing. No one is one size. So I don't understand. This propaganda I'm not falling for is one size clothing, because what do you mean one size? It looks horrible, and sometimes it doesn't fit at all. Sometimes it's too big for the smaller girlies. Sometimes it's.
And at this point, my mic died. So what I was trying to say is it's too small on the bigger girlies, and it's too big on the smaller girlies. And on top of that, people can be tall, can be short, different body types. You get what I mean. I just feel like the whole one size thing, of course, it started off as like lower production and da 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 da, but it gets to a point where people don't feel included. And for the most part, especially in Korea, finding clothes for bigger girlies is easy. It's not as hard as people make it out to be, but it's still a little bit hard when the clothing doesn't fit the way you want it to fit, because it's one size clothing. And I know this is not just a one size clothing problem, but all clothes lately don't seem to quite fit the way you want them to fit. And if they do, after one wash, they no longer fit the way they used to fit. So I get it because of the fabrics and the production, but one size clothing does make it harder for the girlies out here. And that's all I had to say. Sorry my mic died. I have a lot more points, but I wasn't able to add them since my mic died. But tell me if you want a part 2. Thank you for being here, my angel. Bye.